Joining me right now is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who yesterday spoke before the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Terrorism, who said that it is time for us to have body cameras on police officers. Here's some of his testimony.
I'm here today because I believe strongly that another important piece of the puzzle in rebuilding trust between law enforcement and the community truly is body-worn cameras by officers. I say one piece because there is no silver bullet. There is no panacea, but rather many pieces to this puzzle.
Senator Scott, first of all, thanks for joining us on NewsOne Now.
Good morning, Roland. It's good to be back with you. I thought you were going to be sitting next to me, but you were somewhere else flying around the country.
Well, I'm in New York. I had to give an award last night to one of our sponsors, Geico, the New York Urban League Frederick Douglass Awards.
Right.
So I got to do double duty.
Got to do what you got to do.
Here's what's interesting to me, and I understand this here. By having body cameras, we saw this in Rialto, California. Not only does it protect the citizens, but it also protects police officers, because in Rialto they showed a dramatic decrease in the number of people who were claiming police abuse,
yes,
but also a dramatic increase in cops who were claiming the exact same things, saying how they were getting into altercations with citizens.
Well, Roland, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. According to at least one study, it shows that a 90% drop in complaints against law enforcement officers who are wearing body cameras, a 60% drop in violence. That is a huge drop in violence and negative interactions between law enforcement officers and members of the community. If we can see that all around the country, we can stop problems before they start. We can solve problems before they are problems. That would be a step in the right direction, and it will help me. What I'm trying to accomplish is to make sure that Judy Scott, the mother of Walter Scott, gets her prayer answered, which is simply, mothers should not bury their sons.
And the thing that jumps out at me, Senator, and this is where we really see it, because it just bothers me immensely. This officer lied in his police report.
Yes.
He lied. And what happens is people say all the time, hey, let's always believe the police officers, and there are cops who tell the truth in police reports. We've seen other examples, well, they lie. The video allows for us to actually see and hear what happened, and it's accountability. And it's not, as you said yesterday, it is not the be-all to end-all.
No,
but it is one part of this.
A very important part. I mean, here's what we need to do. First and foremost is to segregate the issue of police brutality, how we respond to it, and how do we restore a bridge between law enforcement officers and community members. And then we still have to go to the foundation, the root cause of areas of distress. I want to get there. My opportunity agenda that you've been gracious enough to discuss on your show on multiple occasions: education, work skills, finding a job. How do we treat those folks coming out of prison? We've got to find a different remedy for the long-term challenges in distressed neighborhoods, but that should not be conflated with the conversation around restoring trust and confidence between the interactions of community members and law enforcement officers. This will keep law enforcement officers safer, and at the same time, it will certainly keep community members safer.
Here's a perfect example. Jason Flannery, the St. Louis police officer who shot and killed 18-year-old Von Derek Myers Jr. in October, is not going to face charges. There are still lots of people who are saying that Myers was running away. So you have all kinds of different stuff. Having the video allows for us to actually see. Now, there are some issues with video as well, because we have to ensure that the cameras are turned on and they're not turned off. We saw this happen. It was a story we covered in New Orleans, where the police officers not only turned off their dash cam camera, they also turned off their body camera when a guy was shot in the head. Now, part of this, Senator, I believe that when it comes to body cameras, it should be policy in the police department. If an officer purposely turns off that body camera, they should lose their job, because it is about us being able to see. It's protecting them and the citizenry. We can't have cops who are sitting here turning the cameras off so we don't see what happens.
The good news is we have 3,000 to 4,000 jurisdictions right now experimenting and or going full scale towards body cameras. The good news is we will have the best practices from around the country as we start implementing more funding for these body cameras. Keeping the decisions on the local level is very important, but having that framework to work within has to be there as we engage the federal government in providing some resources in necessary areas. Listen, I think this is going to save money for the federal government as well, because at the end of the day, we'll have to go investigate fewer civil rights violations if we have the body body cameras on officers. That is a
you're
great
right.
step in the right direction.
And in fact, Senator, I've made this point that I would think that fiscal conservatives would be standing with folks in the Black Lives Matter movement saying, hey, we're paying out way too money in police abuse claims, millions and millions of dollars across the country. But here's the question I have for you, Senator. How do you get, though, these police unions to stop standing in the way on this issue? Because that's also part of the problem. I keep hearing, hey, well, we don't know what's going to show. We don't want to see everything. I believe the police union should be standing with you and others 100% saying we fully endorse body cameras.
I do not have a quick answer for that question. Here's what I've tried to do. I've tried to engage every single organization that is willing to come, sit down and talk about their concerns, the obstacles in the way of moving forward, whether it's data retention, disclosure issues, FOIA, when to turn it on, when to turn it off. All these questions are being answered throughout the laboratory called America with 4,000 jurisdictions. There should be no reason that we cannot move forward with more body cameras around this country. It is absolutely the difference between life and death, peace and justice versus innuendos and circumstances that are not explainable because there's no real footage that do that. I said yesterday during a hearing that if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000 pictures. Let's move in the right direction, do for the right reasons. The cost savings is wonderful, but saving lives because we can is the most important and vital component to making sure that we have every single American engaged and confidently with law enforcement and the government.
Got it. Senator Tim Scott, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
God bless.